since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio with your hosts, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Peña, the always opinionated Parris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
And welcome to Gamertag Radio, episode 1261. This is your host, Danny Peña, and joining me for this special episode of Gamertag Radio, we have Parris Lilly. Parris, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, good. By the way, I listened to your the State of Xbox discussion that you had on Twitter. Interesting conversation. Great job with that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, and that was just a random thing. It was like, hey, I had some time to kill. I'm like, let me just do a Spaces and see what people are thinking. But I thought the people that came up had some really good. It was good perspectives. Like there was some good back and forth between people coming up. That's why I was like, you know what? Let's just put it out. Why not?
Yeah. Are you planning to do more of that once in a while?
Like, not too much, just every now and again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess it's interesting hearing the conversation from everybody else because us, we already have our opinions, but I think what matters most is just the community overall.
Yeah,
hear the good and bad. So it's good. Hope you can do that again. But for this episode, we been playing on Redfall, and this is not a full review. This is more like impressions. I haven't completed the game. Parris, have you completed the game?
No, I'm
no. Okay,
and I had told you this before, and we'll obviously get into this. So I actually started over at one point. I had put about a good 10 hours in on the Steam version, and then I got an Xbox code. So I was like, you know what? I would rather play on Xbox because then I can play on the Xbox app on PC and sync my progress between the console and back and forth. So sure. I did 10 hours on Steam, stopped, started completely over again on Xbox, and I got about 17 hours in now on Xbox. I'm close-ish, I think so. I'm just playing on the one character, Layla, but yeah, obviously I have enough that I have a good opinion about Redfall.
Yeah, same here. And we're going to be talking about it. But first, head over to gamertagradio.com. Listen to our past episodes. Also, you can find us on any podcast app. Just search for Gamertag Radio. And we're there. Make sure to post a review, subscribe, follow us, and spread the word. If you would like to be part of our family discussion, which we got a couple family voicemails, and we're going to air that the next episode of GTR. But please send more questions. Love to hear your thoughts, feedback, even cool questions, man, that we could have that great discussion here on GTR. So here's how you could contact us.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, so before we go with the Redfall impressions, I've been reading the tweets and everybody's opinion about what's happening with Jedi Survivor. Now, like I told Parris, and we talked about it on the podcast, we were having issues. And when we posted that, I know that EA was sending out multiple updates on the PC version. I think there was like 2 or 3 updates that week. And when I played it, remember, this is after I finished the game. I wasn't having really any issues after that, like barely. But a couple of things that I noticed is it wasn't the campaign that I was playing, because when you go back and restart the game, you might see audio issues, like audio sync issues, or you will see like the frame rate. But like when I finished the game and I got those updates, I wasn't seeing that at all. And the game, again, it's phenomenal, but I know there was a lot of discussions about the whole frame rate, and especially the PC version, everything. So it's very complicated when you have a publisher that's been sending you updates like, hey, we're working on it. There's going to be a day one patch. And usually when those patches goes out, the majority of the time games get fixed, So I'm glad that, Parris, I'm glad that we brought that up on the podcast. so people could hear the good and the bad. Because the game is great. It's just especially the PC version, it was having a lot of other issues for people, and I just want to say that very quick. You want to say anything about that, Parris, before we go with Redfall?
No, you're right on that, and obviously we're going to talk about this with Redfall too. We're in a weird spot now where we know these games come out with these day one patches now. We know, this is a common theme. So when we're playing in an early preview / review process and you run into certain bugs and things and they're telling you, no, we're going to have a patch to address these things, you try to take that into account. But I do think it's important to review a game for what it is when you play it, right? So I think even with Jedi Survivor, we addressed that. Like, I didn't play on PC, so I didn't have, like, the PC version is obviously way worse than the console versions. But
sure.
even the Xbox version had technical issues. That's why I wanted to make sure to point it out, but not as severe as the PC, unfortunately, however you want to look at it. But it's almost to a point where even though we know these day one patches are coming out, you can't trust that they're going to address the thing. So I think when we talk about these games, you have to say, hey, here's the game for what the game is, but here are the technical aspects of it too. Your mileage may vary at launch when the patch comes out. I think that's very, very important to address, moving forward. So, it's unfortunate with Jedi Survivor because, again, I stand by everything I said during the review that it is arguably one of the best Star Wars experiences ever. But these technical issues are just such a drag that that has taken over the narrative. No one's talking about the good of the game. We're only talking about the negative of these technical things, which it begs the question, you had already delayed it. Why not delay it even further?
Yeah. And I mean, behind the scenes, we really don't know why they can't do that. It could be, because of Disney and EA. It could be because of stocks or whatever. Like, there's so many different reasons, But look, even before we go to the impressions of Redfall, I know we got to see that previously too, like with I think it was Horizons, the last Horizons game, and also God of War, right? Where Sony was sending us updates like, hey, if you're seeing certain issues, don't worry, we're gonna have a day one patch, and us, we enjoying the game. It wasn't as bad as Jedi Survivor when it comes to like crashes or anything like that. Just minor things that it wasn't working properly at that time. For example, like with Horizon, performance mode was it performance mode or was it quality mode? That wasn't 100%. It was still not that great, but then it got better after the update when it came out, and things like that. That's why I would say that most of the time, if a publisher is telling us, "Hey, it's gonna get fixed," then we're gonna believe it, So, but I'm glad that we bring that up here and there with when we review games and stuff on the show. So, but with Redfall, let's go with Redfall. So, again, I haven't really completed the game. Parris, I first started playing this single player because I was waiting for Reed to get her code. And we've been playing crossplay. So she has the Xbox Series S version. I've been playing the PC version on Steam. So, and it's really easy the process to play crossplay. So you sign up through the Bethesda.net website or from the game, and automatically it creates a username. And that username you send it out to your friends that has the game. They'll add it to the list. And if they see you online, they could send you invites and you could play co-op. And the process, it was very, very easy and smooth. Like, it wasn't difficult or anything like that, So let's go with the good. That's a good thing about the game. Also, I tried this on the Steam Deck. It ran great. I played it for like an hour or so. I prefer, of course, on a bigger screen. But, that's something that if I'm on the go, it's great to check it out and test it out and everything. So it was great. I haven't tried the co-op mode on the Steam Deck, but I did manage to play just solo there. So that's that. My character that I picked from the beginning is Remy de la Rosa. She's a combat engineer, and the good thing about her, she has a companion. His name is Bribon, and her character one of her ultimate powers is where, let's say you're playing co-op, you could heal not only yourself but also your teammates. Bribon could also distract like the enemies, and the enemies will go after the robot while you're attacking and everything. So I really enjoyed her character. I know a lot of people gonna choose other ones, and during the preview event that we went, we were using Jacob at the event, so Remy wasn't available. So I really enjoyed playing her character. So the story, I don't want to say much about the story, but it's not something like groundbreaking or like, oh my god, this is interesting, I can't wait to see more. Like, it wasn't never about that. My opinion about Redfall, for me, is more of just play co-op and just enjoy it, because I love playing games like this with Ree, because we always, just talk trash and just have fun and just vibe. And we've been having a good time when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to like the package overall, if this is like a must-have for Xbox fans or Bethesda fans, I was expecting more. And I think there's certain issues that I have in the game that I wish they could fix that, because imagine buying a $70 game and you are playing solo and you go to a side quest and you have to collect a certain item. It's a skull that you do that as a side quest. And then once you complete it, it will allow you to open something that is available in the main campaign, right? So I tried to do that. I died. I went back to the safe house. From the safe house, I went back to that location to try to get that item. And that item wasn't available. The boss, the character, the enemy that I had to defeat was completely gone. And when you check out the map is circling that area. And I'm there going downstairs, going upstairs, walking around. I restarted the game. And I feel like I'm stuck. But when I played co-op with Ree, because she was hosting the game, and we were doing the same exact thing, but on her game, it worked and it was fine and everything. But my game is still stuck on that error that I can't collect that item. So in order for me to continue the game, is either I restart the game from scratch or play somebody else's game and just collect level up and items and everything, because I can still take that back to my progress. The only thing that I can do is continue with the story, because if I'm stuck in that story, I'm going to be there the whole time. You know what I'm saying? So that part is very frustrating and very disappointing, seeing that from a studio like Arcane, that they've been making great games in the past, So I know I talked a lot, Parris. I just wanted to say that because I've been frustrated now for the past couple of days. But I want to hear your thoughts about Redfall.
I actually think you've been kind. With your comments. For me, unfortunately, I cannot recommend Redfall. I cannot. I take it back to the preview period. I also played with Jacob. I thought just kind of the opening mission that we did and kind of just, the vertical slice that we had with it. I was like, okay, I'm interested to see more. Let's see how this plays in co-op. Let's see what happens once we build out the skill trees and start doing other things. But there's barely a story here. Unfortunately, the open world of Redfall is, for lack of a better term, it's boring. It's boring. The AI is not as the AI is not as responsive as I want it to be. And the reason I say that is I'm looking at the studio that made this. This is an arcane game. They've made 3 of the best games I've ever played in Prey and both Dishonored games. And this just does not live up to that pedigree at all. It's quite disappointing, actually, with this. I played as Layla during this, and I like her powers. I like basically the umbrella power, where you can basically absorb attacks and throw it back at the enemy. And as you go through the skill tree, you can start advancing it and upgrading it, things like that. She has powers basically that can help heal other characters and enable them. When we're in the co-op mode. Her ultimate is her ex-boyfriend who is a vampire. He comes in and he can do a variety of attacks and distract, enemies, and all that's fine. Mm-hmm. But for me, this feels like a game that I should have gotten during the Xbox 360 era. That's what this feels like to me. Mm-hmm. It's just a thing of I just feel so let down by this that my expectations were a lot higher for this. And when we bring up, because I do think price matters in this, you're going to charge me $70 for this. I cannot with a straight face tell anyone to go spend $70 to play this game. This is something you'll play for a few days over a weekend with your buddies, and then you're going to put it down and you're never going to touch this again. That's just the truth. I don't see the replayability that's going to come out of this. There's technical aspects of this that I just don't like. We've gone through the whole hosting fiasco of the story progress. Only the host gets to carry it over, but you obviously get to carry over any skill progression and weapons you pick up and all that. Okay, that's fine. But I've had instances where I've gone through and done like the vampire nest, right? I'll jump out of the game. I come back. They're all back. The nests are all back. What? I got to go do them all again. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't like that. I don't like that. I've had a couple instances playing on PC where regularly enough, I've gotten like a Teams call or something, right? And the game will completely freeze up. So I have to start over. Okay, fine. But then I come back in the mission. Now I got to do that mission all over again. It's just like, really? Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. I had an instance where there's a key to unlock a certain thing. I had it in a co-op match I was in. I do it in my solo match. Poof, it's gone. It ain't there. What? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Stuff like that. Little nagging things like that. And I say all that because, look, the track record of this game up to launch has not been good. I will say, again, playing on PC, full disclosure, I'm playing on a high-end machine. There's DLSS 3, which is great. I'm playing at high frames. I clocked it at one point. I was over 100 frames at epic settings. That's great. I go play on my Series X. It's at 30 frames, as we know. It felt like I was walking through mud. And look, that could be PC elitist talk, whatever you want to call it. But I do think it's a case of we know a 60 frames per second mode is coming to this game, but it's not here at launch. So playing on the Xbox Series X at 30 frames was not the best experience either. I got used to it, but it wasn't the best. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why this game is coming out now. It almost just feels like, all right, it is what it is. Let's just put it out there and move on. Because I feel like this game still needed more time. There's not a lot of rhyme or reason to the mission structure. And again, it's open world and all that. That's fine. But the day-night cycle, with the, why am I blanking on the name? The human characters. I'm blanking on the name. You know what I'm talking.
You are the cultist?
The cultist. Thank you. The cultist versus the vampires. I get, there's less vampires out during the day. There's obviously more at night. But it's like, even when I go in those vampire nests, I expected more from it. It's just rinse and repeat with the nests. There's no real challenge in those nests. Because as you start to level up and build out your skill tree, I'm just mowing through all that stuff, man. There's nothing there that's challenging me. Sure, some of the boss fights, the fighting a vampire god was a little, there was a little bit of challenge there. But I even had an instance with the first one that I did where I had a issue where the game froze up on me. Again, this is like I got like a Teams call or something. So the whole game froze. So I had to start over. So then I go back. Now I got to fight that boss all over again. It was just like, oh man, I don't want to have to do that. I don't know. I just think there's some technical issues there that aren't the best. There's some UI decisions that aren't the best. I wish there was a little more rhyme or reason to the mission structure. The story, like I said, is forgettable. And Danny, I got to tell you, playing as Layla, the voice, not the voice actors themselves, but just the lines of dialogue, very cheesy and cringy. Like,
I feel the same with Remy too.
Yeah, like Layla has some lines in there. I'm just like, really? And she says them a lot. And I'm just like, I really don't want to hear this.
Yeah, I love representation. Like I love that in games, right? I feel like that's very, very important. You know, when I play with Remy, there were certain things that she was saying. I feel like it was like trying too hard, but I don't know if that's like the correct
way I think that is the best way to say it. It does feel like you're trying too hard.
Yeah, like she will say, you know, certain things in Spanish. I'm like, I get it. Like I'm proud to, you know, to represent my people, but sometimes when it sounds kind of cheesy, I'm like, I don't know, not my thing. Again, like I don't see this game as like the worst game I ever played in my life. Like it's nothing like I had a good time because I was playing with Parris, you know, like we were joking.
I get all that, but Danny, I cannot let this slide. It's okay. Listen to me. This is a disappointment coming from Arcane. This is a disappointment being the first game that you're representing from Xbox Game Studios as I'm going to charge you $70 for this. This is a next gen only experience. This is not a next gen only experience. This is not a game that they should be charging you $70 for. This is a game that should have 60 frames on the console day one. You're telling me a patch is coming, TBD. Who the hell knows when it's coming? This is a game that should not be representing what Xbox Game Studios is trying to do in 2023. They should have delayed this game again. This is disappointing. It is disappointing. Sure, I can go. There are other games that are well more worth my time in 2023 than playing Redfall.
Sure.
This is disappointing. Again, the AI is not great. The weapons, let's talk about that for a second.
I was gonna continue, but
even the loot drops of the weapons, I don't know if there's some perks on different things and you get over that, but I feel like I could still run with the basic weapons that I got at the start and I'll be fine. That's how I feel as I'm playing this. I don't feel like it matters the loot. I don't feel a desire to go chase loot in this game. And that's what they're kind of trying to set this up to be. And, you know, like there's customizations, cosmetic things that you can get like for your characters and change their appearance, things like that. All that's fine. But I don't care enough to want to go chase that stuff. Yeah. So this, I'm telling you now, when people get their hands on this, they're going to go, what the hell is this? Why did you put this out? And it is gonna be a field day. It just is. That is the truth of the matter. This is not something that I'm putting up on the mantle to say, this is the next gen for Xbox. This is disappointing. It just is. There's no way around it. I cannot sugarcoat it. That is just the 100% truth from the studio that made this game. If this was an indie developer putting out a game, I'm like, this is good. This is Arcane, man. This is Arcane. Yeah. I have expectations for what comes from Arcane. This does not live up to the pedigree that Arcane has displayed. That is disappointing to me. So I cannot sugarcoat this. And just
it's
say,
not sure. Wait, hold on.
I'm just giving you my thoughts.
But I gave you my thoughts.
I know, but hold on. To say that this is okay or all right. You obviously can have your opinion, but I not me.
I just don't want people to think that I'm sugarcoating anything, because it's not. If I feel that I'm having not the greatest time, but it's like it's decent, right? But to say like the greatest game out there, I've never said that. You know, I'm not trying to make it like, oh, it's Arcane, I'm cool with them, let me just say this is great. No, it's not. I talked about my issues that I have with the game. I totally agree about the weapons. I didn't have the chance to say anything because I noticed when I get a weapon that's level 6 and then I got another one that's like level, let's say 12, I really didn't see the difference at all. That I feel like, what is the point of changing weapons? And for me, it was more of like, let me change a sniper or change it to like a shotgun or something else. I was more focused on that, and I wasn't even looking at the numbers of the weapons because I felt like there was no major changes in that experience. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, Parris, I get where you're coming from, and I 100% agree with you, right? But I'm talking about my experience playing this with my wife. Like, just like we played it out for like a couple of days, just us, just vibing, and yeah, of course, it was issues that we got to see in the game. Like, for example, we're playing, we go to the fire station, and I noticed that I see her coming up, and we go outside, and she's running with no weapon, but she has a weapon in the game. And then she telling me she doesn't see me with a weapon, but I'm running also. I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on? So like things like that, the game is not perfect. It needs major updates for this to be better. But like, the thing I was going to ask you is, okay, $70, 100% agree with you. Too much for a game like this. I think this should have been cheaper. But let's say for those that have Game Pass, let's just say, do you think it's worth their time to just try it out?
No. And that is a narrative that I hope it will become the thing. I know this is what people are going to say.
Of course, yeah.
Game Pass is not an excuse to deliver this.
No.
It's not.
No.
So sure, if you have Game Pass, go try it out for yourself. But I am not going to recommend anyone spend $70 for this.
No, hell no. No. $70, way too much for something like this, So like, and here's the thing. It just, like, when we went to the event, you could tell like the studio, the team, they're very excited. I know they were very nervous when we were there because they were like, oh man, I hope everything runs great, But look, we're not lying. We had a great time at the event. At the preview event, it was fine. But here's the thing, Parris, like, and that's another thing I want to bring up. For example, the Jedi Survivor game, right? I went to the event and I got to play a certain part in the beginning of the game, right? After you pass that part in the main game, that's when you see the issues, right? It's similar to what your experience with like Cyberpunk, when you were like in a certain area, the prologue. After you pass the prologue, that's when you got to see like the major issues, right? So I don't know if I'm trying to think if there was anything like that when we played Redfall at the pre-event, but I feel like it was still the same. It wasn't nothing major like that because we played that at the event, and this one is more like in the early part of the game and everything. I think it was more of the game being really repetitive, but also buggy that kind of ruined the experience. And I just felt like, okay, been there, done that. That's the vibe that I got with this game.
Yeah,
after a while,
and that's the thing. You'll experience the entire gameplay loop of what you're doing in probably the first, 2 hours. Yeah, and then there's not a lot of diversity after that, and that's the disappointment of this. I'm like, I really thought we were going to get a vast different variety of vampires with different abilities and things just they're doing to, really challenge you. And it was kind of, all right, they're going to come at you and swipe at you. Or one has a shield spinning around them. So you got to get in there in between the shield. I mean, there wasn't a lot. And that's the unfortunate thing. And again, a preview is a preview. You get to see a certain section. So you judge that. And then you go, hey, I am interested to see more. And now we've seen the more, and I go, well, this really ain't no different than what we just did with the preview. This is not enough. That's the problem here. There's not enough content here to compel me to want to go play this. There's not enough here that on a Friday night, let me go get 3 of my buddies and let's run through co-op with all the different characters. I feel like I could do that. If I were to jump into a co-op match and we run through the entire story, I'm going to put this game down. And I'm not going to touch it again. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen with a lot of people with this. And then when you're telling people to spend $70 for this, you can't help but say this is disappointing. There's just no way. they'd have been better off with this being some kind of free to play game and sticking a bunch of like having some kind of battle pass with different things. Maybe that would incentivize people to want to go play more. I don't know. I'm literally spitballing here because this is not.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I'm just spitballing, throwing something at the wall because my point, as I said again, this is Arcane. I have an expectation. Again, we just had Deathloop 2 years ago. Right, which
Amazing.
which is a different sector of Arcane, but it's still Arcane. That to me felt like a spiritual successor of what we've gotten from a Dishonored or a Prey or whatever. This does not, and that's the disappointing thing about this. That we obviously leading up to what kind of game is this? What is it going to be? Is this Left 4 Dead? No, it's not Left 4 Dead. It's definitely more Far Cry than Left 4 Dead, as we've said before. But it ain't enough Far Cry. Right. That's the other thing that I have in there. There's not enough going on in the world. And I really thought there would be. I thought, oh, man, once you get deeper in the game, it's really going to start opening up. You're going to have all these different events and the real world things, open world. That's not the case. It's just not.
Mm-hmm. It's hard. It's hard.
Let me put this example again, because we just talked about Jedi Survivor. Like Jedi Survivor has technical issues, but goddamn, when you play in the game itself, I'm in. I'm all in. I love it. This, not as much technical issues, a little bit here or there. But man, the game itself, I'm like, I just have the Larry David face where I'm just kind of, that's what it is. Here's what I'm going to say. And I know some people will get mad at me for saying this. Some people are probably going to take me saying this and run with it and use it as clickbait or something. Yeah. But it's the truth from my personal opinion. For me, Parris Lilly, old man from St. Petersburg, Florida, for me, Redfall is the biggest disappointment so far in 2023. For me. For what I expected, for what I was looking forward to, this is the biggest disappointment of 2023 for me.
No,
this is.
Hey, I can't fight on that or anything. Hey, it's everybody's gonna have opinions. So hey, I support what you say, and that's fine. I don't see anything wrong with that. Here's the thing. Even if there's updates with everything in this game, right? They fix and everything. I don't see if there's going to be any major changes at all. Even if they put performance mode on the Xbox Series S, I think even with that, Parris, there's not going to be any major changes that's going to make this, people are like, wow, this game is amazing. Look, again, people are going to have different opinions. I think there's going to be people that just love these type of games that no matter what, they're like, oh, I'm going to play this. I'll spend the $70. I'll play this on Game Pass, whatever. Like, I see that. I could see that. For me, I think if we're gonna rate it from 1 through 10, let's just say, for me, I'll give this a 6. The highest, maybe close to a 7. That's like close, and that's about it. But more in between those two right there, and I feel like there should have been more in this game for me, But it is what it is. I think I'll play it a few times here and there, but I think I'm done. Moving on to the next thing for me. So.
Yeah, 6 out of 10 seems about right. I would say. I mean, it's not a terrible game. Don't get me wrong, but I just have a hard time knowing the pedigree of the studio and my own personal expectations. Maybe I just expected too much. I don't know, but. It's just okay. And that's such a disappointment for what I think we all thought this game was going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, everyone, for those who are listening to the podcast, please let us know your thoughts about our discussion about this game. And we'll play it on the next episode of Gamertag Radio. So anything else, Parris, before we wrap it up?
No, I mean, I think that's it. Obviously, I will say on the back end of this, just when I think about Xbox and I think what's coming up here over the next few months, this puts even more pressure on Starfield. Just being completely transparent and honest. There's a lot of pressure on Starfield now. Because again, obviously it's another Bethesda game. This is coming from Todd Howard. This is the big game for 2023 for Xbox. There is more pressure on Starfield, 100% coming off of this. Obviously, we'll see what they show at the Xbox showcase as well, because I think we got to start seeing more coming from their internal studios for sure. Now, I will say on a positive note to end it, I want to be positive about something.
Yes, please.
So like I said, I purposely went from the Steam version to the Xbox version because I wanted to be able to test out playing via the Xbox app on PC and then hopping over to console and just the back and forth of my progression, things like that. All that worked great. All that's fine. That is good. And I'd even tweeted it out the other day. I am to the point where for Xbox games, I prefer on PC, I'm talking, I prefer to just play it on the PC, on the Xbox app on PC because of that, because it's going to allow me to seamlessly go back and forth. Like obviously my achievements, everything, the save progressions, all that stuff can go back and forth because now the Xbox app has improved enough along with them using actual PC features on there. So playing on the Xbox app on PC, Redfall, yes, I have the same exact PC features that I had on Steam, DLSS 3, all that stuff was there. That's great. That 100%. That is moving forward. Like, again, we talk about Starfield. That's how I want to play Starfield. I will play it on PC through the Xbox app. And then when I want to hop on the console, I can do that. All my progression is going to be there. I think that's great. That is from a technical standpoint, kudos to Xbox for working on this over the years and getting this to this point where you don't even have to think about it. You just boot it up and go play. All that's great.
Yeah, and that's more reason for me to check out this handheld. That's Windows. That has Windows in there.
Yeah, because like you say,
Asus,
Steam Deck. Because think about it, the Asus. The Alley, the ROG Alley. And obviously that'll be revealed here this week as people are listening to this. That's going to be a game changer for that point because now that is going to allow you to go from your PC to your console to your handheld back to your PC console, like vice versa. That's my expectation with that. It'll all be seamless. So really looking forward to that.
Can you connect that also on the TV? Is similar to Steam Deck, or they haven't said anything about that?
I don't think they've said yet, but I guess we'll find out this week.
I hope so. Yeah. I hope so. I mean, I just been reading leaks and stuff like from like The Verge and stuff like that.
And that leaked pricing is very encouraging. Oof. It's gonna be very competitive to the Steam Deck, which is great. And from a hardware spec standpoint, it is superior to the Steam Deck. And it's doing Windows, and you can still have Steam on there. You can still run all that, but now you can have the Xbox app. You can do the Epic Store. Like you do everything on that. So if it lives up to the quote unquote hype of what we're thinking pre-launch, I'm getting it. 100%. I'm getting it for sure.
Yo, that looks so good.
Yeah,
that looks so good. Yeah, I can't wait. And you have all these other apps as Windows too. Oh, yep. Bro. Mm-hmm. Amazing.
I mean, think of it this way. Yeah. One last thing, but just think of it this way. This is kind of a sneaky backdoor way for Xbox having their own handheld with PC Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. All right, thank you for listening to this episode of Gamertag Radio, and we'll be back next time, and hopefully we have more stuff, more content to talk about, man. So stay tuned, and thank you for listening. Until next time, we're out.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.